person that doesn't stand behind the podium. So if you cannot hear me, just give me a thumbs up or down, I guess. Wait, up for the volume. How's that? And I also don't have my notes on my PowerPoint, so I just have a few things to refer to today. But basically, I'm here as a scientist and an artist to ask you to consider a few things. What do you want to do with your life? And what do you want to create? How do you want to leave things behind? And these are more than theoretical questions at this point in life, and this point in history, really, for the planet. They might sound a little touchy-feely, but out on the Big Island in Hawaii, for example, this week on May 9th, at NOAA's Mauna Loa Observatory, 400 parts per million of CO2 were measured in the atmosphere, and if that doesn't start making us really cut to the chase of what we need to be doing, how we need to be communicating, what choices we need to make, then it's a large wake-up call. I grew up in, anyway, let's get started with something pretty. I grew up in Newark, Delaware in the 50s and 60s, and like many of you, spent a lot of time outdoors, observing and dreaming and collecting things, drawing things, exploring, and all that led to looking towards a way to make a living in the science community. Just out of curiosity, since we have a couple tracks, how many people are actually scientists in the room? Any that came to outreach? Yeah, okay. So we always hope, like in these circumstances, that you're speaking to people that might not consider what I'm presenting as much, but at least I'm talking among like-minded spirits here. Within the science community, unfortunately, it's professionals are not maybe considered as experts and professionals when they do start talking about spirit and soul and our connection to the earth and how that ties in with a healthy environment and nature. But that's an integral part of everything. What I do know, and what I've learned and what everybody else in this room I'm sure would agree with, is that we protect what we love, and we are all connected. When we live a life that's aligned with these, if we make these daily choices, which is so easy to get off track in our society, so easy to get off track in what your work requires of you, what your family requires of you, but when we do that and take those few moments to pause and reconnect with the natural world, then we're more aligned with our values, and we can have a meaningful life that actually contributes to the world healing and our connection to each other. We need to look out for each other, and all living things. We need to have more of this, not that, which everybody drives by every day, of course, sea grapes in Palm Beach County and the rest of the native plants. And take times to, when people who are not like-minded and don't have the consciousness that we have, when something's in the news, we need to translate that into some kind of wise choices and positive action, and give people alternatives. But what it boils down for me is human beings have an image problem, and we do forget who we are. The human geography of the Lake Worth Lagoon, like every other place on Earth, is full of stories, and they're connective stories. Through its geology, its hydrology, its microclimates, the relationships between humans and all the living species that have been around the lagoon. And somehow, even though we know this inside, we find ourselves quantifying and measuring and doing methodologies and practicing to the exclusion of this other part of science, this complementary part of science, which is the heart and soul and spirit of science. And every watershed, every mangrove, every microcosm, every woods, all is part of what we really need to consider. And Felipe, if you'll help me with this, what I'd like to do is just use a few images to kind of both reflect the project that I did for West Palm Beach and also a reminder to us of who we are. I need reminding all the time. And maybe the lights too. Do I do that back here?